Now today, we're going to be continuing this conversation, and I want to react to some comments that Richard Jefferson made. Now, Richard Jefferson is one of the few people that's in the media that's against load management, right? He's one of the people, I guess he's an old school person, I guess you would say, that's just totally in opposition to this, and is one of these guys that's absolutely perplexed as to how we have gotten to this point in the NBA, right? There's some people that are strong proponents of it, but Richard Jefferson seems to be one person that's totally against it. And yesterday, he was on ESPN and he was making a very strong case why load management is not a good thing, and really exposing some of the narratives that people like Jay Williams and others have been putting out. So what we want to do is want to play exactly what he had to say here, and then we're going to come back and react to his comments. Take a listen to what Richard Jefferson had to say about load management. Take a listen to that.
Sat there, and I was fortunate to come in 2001. And when I tell you that there was one trainer, there wasn't a traveling masseuse, there wasn't game readies, there weren't all of the amenities. You didn't have cold tubs, you didn't have hot tub, you didn't have all of the amenities. And the only thing that has led, we have now teams that are paying millions of dollars to sports science. And they're like, oh, the game of basketball is tough. Let me tell you why. And for all the people that want to go through and look at numbers, you can look at how many games I played over the course of my career and what my numbers were. Let me tell you about why it was important to me, because that's all I'm going to say. My parents, I didn't come from very much. And for Christmas, my parents got me a ticket to go watch the San Antonio Spurs because David Robinson was my favorite player. One ticket. My dad, who worked security and scrubbed floors and did all this stuff, he dropped me off at the game, gave me $5, and I went in there by myself because my family couldn't afford to come to the game. So they knew that I loved basketball. And I was the youngest of 3 boys, but that was my thing. So they paid one ticket. And I sat in there. My dad went to a bar and watched the game and then came back and picked me up when the game was over. So it's like every day that I stepped on the floor, I remember my father. Yeah. I remember having one ticket and being there, and all the families and all the people that were probably just like me. If David Robinson wouldn't have played in that game, like, I get emotional thinking about it because I got to stand next to him in game 6 of the NBA Finals when he was about to go off into the sunset and tell him that he was my favorite player growing up. So I take that responsibility and say, wait, we can't just gloss over this. And I blame the teams. I blame the training staffs, because the players in this generation are doing more of what they are told than going out there and leaving it all out on the floor. Because we as NBA fans, not just the fans in that building, you want to sit there and talk about MVP, then go against Giannis. Be tired and go against Giannis. And I'm not saying that Jokic is notoriously known for playing in all the games, but that's one that as a team, as a franchise, for Jokic, for everyone, you should have looked at and said, we need to manage before or we need to manage afterwards. You're going to go against one of the best players in this league, and that's the way it should be looked at.
Now, you heard what he had to say. Now, one of the arguments that's been circulating out there is that you can't really understand basketball because, in terms of this understanding this issue, if you never play basketball. That's what we've been hearing, right? If you never play basketball, then you don't really understand it. Here's the comedy show about it. There are a lot of players talking about what it's like to play basketball today that have never played in this NBA. That's the irony of it. They'll tell you how difficult it is, yet they haven't done it. But one of the prevailing point of views is that if you're not a basketball player or former basketball player, you can't understand this. So therefore, the people that are making the point of Jay Williams, they got it right because they're basketball players. But then hold up. Richard Jefferson was a basketball player. So why does he have a totally different view than you? Why does he have a totally different view than you? Another person that was a basketball player, Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was a basketball player. He hated load management and sitting out games when you were just a little bit nicked up. He would go out there and play anyway. So this has nothing to do with basketball. It has everything to do with your opinion. So let's throw that out the way. It's a weak argument. Has nothing to do with the fact that you play basketball or you're a former athlete. It's just your opinion. And basically, you're trying to shut people down that they didn't play professional basketball or whatever it is, and saying that you don't have a right to have an opinion because you never played basketball. That's a lame argument, because they're players that also play the same sport as you at a much higher level that totally don't subscribe to your notions. So again, it has nothing to do with the fact that you played basketball. Nothing to do with the fact. Nothing. Just the other day, we produced a show reacting to some comments that Cristiano Ronaldo made, by far the biggest athlete in the world. It's not even up for discussion. Who was talking about NBA players about how they always, even Ronaldo is noticing the load management that's taking place in the league. To me, as a fan, number one, I have a right to voice my opinion because I patronize the product. And not only do I patronize this product, I cover it. And as someone that is a Kawhi Leonard fan, Clippers supporter, it has bothered me on so many occasions that sometimes I don't even bother watching some of the games because I don't know if my favorite player is going to be playing or not. And some of the reasons we don't see him play, to me, seem to be absolutely inexplicable. There seems to be no reason. That's number one. Number two, there are a lot of people that are saying that the science is saying that this is what's working, but there are a lot of people that are saying it's not. There are a lot of people that are more qualified than the people saying that the science is working that are actually saying it's not. I'll give you one, for example, Tim Grover. Who would you rather listen to about nutrition and athletes training? Tim Grover or some of these other people we've been talking about? I think I would rather listen to Tim Grover. And Tim Grover, for those of you, if you don't know who Tim Grover is, I don't know what to say to you. Tim Grover said that there's something that is fundamentally wrong about the way that they're training a lot of these guys because they're not incorporating, they're not spending enough emphasis on weightlifting and they're spending a little bit more time on bands and all of that. Now, I just simplified a quite complicated argument, but essentially those were some of the points that he was making. So he was saying that the training is off a little bit. Now, coming from somebody like that, obviously I'm going to listen. Somebody that trained Michael Jordan, Dwayne Wade, and Kobe Bryant, of course I'm going to listen to what he's saying. He is just as qualified as anybody on the subject. He's just as qualified. My other thing is this, and it's one of the reasons I've always spat in the face of this notion that this is the most advanced set of NBA players we've ever had. My question is, if players today are so advanced, why are they not as durable as players in the past? Why? I cannot understand it. They can jump higher, run fast, and all, but that's the one part they're not more endurant. Why? Why? You said, well, because of the load. The load in what way? They've added more cardio, but they've taken away the contact. So what are you talking about, the load? I don't understand it. I don't understand it. There's no clear answer to this that says what they're doing makes sense. There is no clear line of thinking. I think it all boils down to opinions. That's all I believe it boils down to. And to me, I'm looking at it from the aspect of a fan. And I'm also using examples of players in the past that have performed at a very, very high level that have played more games in a more physical game. So I'm not understanding what these guys' argument really is. I'm not getting it. It's not adding up. It's not making any sense to me. And I think Richard Jefferson is 100% on the money. To me, and I will always believe this, what you tell your mind is exactly what your body is going to do. The body can adapt. Whatever you tell yourself you can do it. And whatever you tell yourself you won't be able to do, you won't be able to do it. It's just that simple. To me, it all comes down to the story we're telling ourselves. Now, if you don't believe the mind has a serious role to play in your affairs in life, if you don't believe that plays a role in it, then that's fine. I'm not here to argue that for you. But to me, I don't agree with what some of these guys are making. These points that some of these guys are making. All they're doing is giving their opinions. And some people like us disagree. And there are a lot of people that feel the way I feel. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comment section. We catch you on the next show.